Oh. Hallo, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdi, ji ayanu, goedemorgen.
Becher Agele, die Hau, to the Shubme, Washmale, Ohio, Gozaimas, Guten Morgen, Hola, Bonjour, Privyet, Kaifa Hal, Hale Shuma Chatore, Ahlan Vasal Marhaba, Buna, Mucho, Gracias, Swabia, Bali Gare. And thank you very much, everybody from 46 different countries, whoever is actually tuning to PTV World. You watching World This Morning, alongside the very fantastic, the very amazing Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Hello, Shiza, how are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely great. Thank you so much for asking. And I'm doing a little better because I'll tell you what.
Why?
So I woke up earlier this morning,
Yeah.
a few hours early, in fact, and I had a little stroll. I had my coffee while sort of watching the sunrise and the beautiful birds and everything. And since it's almost the beginning of the winter, so fog and mist right in front of my. So I had a amazing morning. What about you, though?
Oh, good. I think I had a great morning as well. I wanted to roll my blinds up as well, but I was like, okay, you know what? I should probably step outside the house. That's the time when I want to see the daytime as well, because
Right.
usually that's what I do. But today I just couldn't because I didn't had a lot of time on my
Oh.
clock for myself as well. So I was like, probably I need to rush. You were lucky enough to wake up early as well. I went to bed early. But I was kind of struggling last night because I went to bed like an hour earlier than my routine as well. And then, in between, I thought that probably I'm dreaming about something. Then I woke up in the middle of the night. And then eventually there are days when you wake up and you're like, okay, you know what, that I haven't slept enough. So
Exactly.
that's what happened to me. But now, alhamdulillah, I feel fresh, I feel great. And I think that I'm ready to take on the day.
But can I share with you some of
Sure.
one of the things actually that
What
I
if I said
discovered
no?
lately? I'm still going to do it
But
anyway
yeah,
for
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
go
audiences
ahead, go
out there.
ahead.
So here's the thing, and I'm sure a lot of people out there, you guys know this. I didn't know this.
Okay.
So I always chose for an alarm that was, well, banging in the first place, right? I mean,
Really?
imagine if I'm sleeping, I want something so loud that I'm up immediately. But that usually always ends up giving you a headache because you're in such a deep sleep and then you immediately wake up. And then I was reading on it on how to, actually wake up peacefully.
Yeah.
And then there are alarms, of course, which take time. And then eventually, sort of
They
you.
go to that tone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, eventually they sort of, creep into your dreams as well. And then take their time to wake you up and you wake up so peacefully and calm. So that's a good thing I changed my alarm. This is one of the things that's actually, well, it improved my mood. I mean, imagine waking up with a headache,
But
man.
before we move on, I actually want to know the kind of noise or the kind of sound that alarm made, which actually gave you a headache as well.
It's
How
so
did it sound?
loud.
What was the sound? Ta ta ta, probably.
Literally though, yeah, because I've said it that way because I wanted to make sure I'm up on time.
And there's
But
this.
there are better ways
I
out.
think I've got a good news for all of those people who actually cannot wake up to alarms, ladies and gentlemen. There's a floor mat which actually comes with an alarm, and unless you're going to stand on it, it's not going to stop. So for all of those
Oh,
people who cannot get up with their phone alarms or probably alarm clocks as well, I think what you need to get
I'm going
is
to
a floor
show.
mat as well.
I will do that because I'll tell you what. I'll show you how bad I am with alarms. So these are all the alarms I have.
6:40, 6:45,
It's probably
6:46, 6:47. Every minute listening to alarm is actually getting up on the first beep. And that's what I do, because if eventually you know that you have to get up, ladies and gentlemen. So what's the point of just snoozing your alarm? Make sure that whenever it rings, you're up and you're ready to take on the day. That's one thing. But there's one more
yes.
thing which came across my head, and we, me and Shiza, we discussed it with our team as well, and our producer, Mr. Jamshed Sab, has actually been very supportive of whatever ideas we bring to him. So, what came across my head was that, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about going to universities, over here in Pakistan, I think that there's a dilemma with universities. Obviously, it's a business in the first place, and that's how people are dealing with it as well, rather than making sure that they're going to be more ethical because it's more academic. But over here, unfortunately, universities really do not consider somebody being a sportsman or a sportswoman for that
Absolutely.
matter as well. Every time, while I was studying for my bachelor's or my master's, none of the university actually asked me whether I was a better sportsman, whether I was involved in social work or not. And these are the questions which I think are essential to be asked from any candidate who's actually applying to a university. And this is something which I saw in my younger brother's case. Alhamdulillah, he's an Oxford graduate. And while he was applying for other universities, every university asked him whether he's been playing any sport, whether he's been involved in active community service or not. But over here, we just don't do that.
I totally agree with you. We should definitely do that. This is something we're majorly missing out on, and we need to talk about this probably on another day. Let's
Exactly.
do that. One more thing that universities are missing, and while I was in my own university that I'm now graduated from, so over a period of just 2 years or something, Shazad, I noticed them develop ramps for the first time, or let's say elevators for the first time, or I mean assistive technology for that matter, and then assistive architecture. Isn't it too late? I mean, this was just probably 2 years ago or something. So imagine the people who are differently abled and want to, of course, have all the opportunities or facilities that a normal person does, and then they're not bestowed with them. So thus they cannot choose for that university, or they cannot opt for, similar opportunities just because it's not assistive.
Exactly.
It breaks my heart.
And
I really
hence-
hope this is one of the major changes that we do bring in our society.
Exactly, and hence they feel left out as well, ladies and gentlemen, because we are not providing them that inclusive environment, which is our responsibility, not just the government, but I think it's our responsibility as well. For all of the buildings out there, over here in Islamabad, we are the capital of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. We're making sure that we are, kind of head to head with all of those developing nations and developing countries or cities for that matter. But imagine that we do not have infrastructure where everybody could actually feel inclusive. I'm going to
Absolutely.
give you a very small example. It's a very meager, and I think that everybody would be able to realize the kind of pain they might have to go through just because of the fact that they do not have access to even public transport. I mean, over
Right.
here, thank God that we have metro now, that differently able people can actually even commute with metro bus service. But before that, they weren't able to. Imagine in England, if there's a person on wheelchair and he or she
Right.
needs to commute on public transport, the bus will arrive at the bus stop,
The
and the
ramp
bus is
comes out.
actually going to drop itself down. The ramp will come out so that it is easy, and then the driver comes out to push the wheelchair in. And this is basic ethics. These are basic etiquettes as well, ladies and gentlemen. Why are we talking about? It's because of the fact that today, on 15th of October, ladies and gentlemen, it happens to be the White Cane Safety Day.
Absolutely. And we're so, so, so proud to actually have this opportunity to educate ourselves along with you guys, whoever doesn't know about this. One more thing, Shazad, since we are talking about, differently abled people not feeling included enough, if that's the right word. So I have only witnessed at hardly only a few ATMs with brails on it.
Yeah.
So imagine someone who is, we can talk about so many people who are differently able, like I already said. They need different opportunities, like we already mentioned again, and facilities too. We cannot imagine ourselves to be in that situation where you're not given all these things, right? So I think this day is very important for awareness, first of all. And why White Cane Day specifically? We have so many questions about this, and we have a perfect apt panel of guests over here to answer those. But just one thing, Shazad, from what I was reading about this particular day, it's all about awareness.
Exactly.
And the stakeholders in this particular day really just wanted people to be acknowledging their efforts, to be acknowledging the kind of life that they have, and then respect the kind of life that they have. I mean, there were, I was reading accounts of people on their blogs who are, visually impaired. All they wanted was for people, one of them actually wrote that if you see me going out with my white cane, don't come shouting at me to turn left or turn right or stop at the stone, because he says this is my assistive technology in my hand right now.
Exactly.
I am going to steer my way through it. And especially when we're talking about people who are visually impaired, their other senses are so heightened. They're brilliant. Their brains are amazingly developed. I mean, there are of course so many ways that Allah compensates in. So I think this is what we need to talk about, aware ourselves along with the general public.
Exactly, and we do have a small report to share, but before we move on towards that report, ladies and gentlemen, the goal is to actually make sure that anybody and everybody, whatever state of mind they are in, or probably whatever life has thrown at them, they
Yes.
should actually be able to have normal access to each and everything which they want to do.
Right.
Even if they want to go to a park. Imagine that in developed countries, I'm not very sure that whether we have that kind of service over here or not, but for visually impaired people, we actually have rescue dogs as well, where they're going to take them, where they're going to make sure that they're going to cross roads properly as well, and that there's no threat. And God forbid, if there's anybody who's actually going to do probably something very mischievous, the dog's actually going to look after that. Okay, even if you're not able to do so, the only thing which I feel and I feel their pain, and it's because of the fact that I got my backbone operation done probably 6 or 7 years ago,
Right.
and I was bedridden. I had to rest. So for 3 months I was not able to do all of what I wanted to do. Even if I wanted to go to the ATM, it wasn't possible for me. I actually have to ask somebody for help. to making sure that the society is inclusive. All we need to do is give them equal access, give them
I
equal
agree.
opportunity,
Yes.
give them all of what we can enjoy as well. And this way the community and the society is actually going to be healthier as well. I think we have spoken quite a lot. We
Right.
have a small report.
Let's
Once
take a
you're going
look.
to take a look at that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll actually be in conversation with people who are living a very different life, but then at the same time they do not complain. They're still making sure that they're going to bring about a change in all of those people's life who are actually visually impaired or are living with a different ability as well. So ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, take a look at this report. Good morning.
Worldwide Cane Day is observed every year on October 15. The day is observed worldwide and recognizes the movement of blind people from dependency to active participations in society. It is a day to honor the achievements of blind people in the world. White cane is considered to be a symbol of their support and independence. White Cane Day is a day when we all should communicate to all the blind people in this world that their capabilities to achieve success are in no way inferior to the people with normal eyesight. Not only this, but one of this day we should stop discriminating people based on their disabilities and recognize the fact that everyone has equal rights. It also symbolizes the independence of blind people. It provides them the much needed support to walk through the difficult parts of life.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I think that there's only one thing which we need to focus on, and that is that in no way there any ability is inferior from any other to be successful in this life. I think that's what
Brilliant.
we're focusing on today. It happens to be White Cane Safety Day, and today we're very lucky that we have been joined by some amazing guests over here who are actually going to speak about how the society is going to become a better place for all of those people who are differently able. Ladies and gentlemen, we're lucky to have been joined by the Chief Executive of the Pothohar Mental Health Association, and he is the first ever visually impaired clinical psychologist himself. He is Mr. Zulkarnain Asghar. Hello, Assalamu Alaikum. Good morning.
Good morning,
It's
Shahzad.
good
How
to
are
have you back.
Absolutely
Thank you.
perfect. And I
Thank
liked
you.
your smile. You look handsome as always as well.
Thank you.
Wonderful. What's with the gray hair? I think your wife likes it, right?
I personally like it.
Wow, that's
Okay,
wonderful.
that's brilliant then.
Alongside Mr. Zulkarnain, ladies and gentlemen, we've actually been joined by somebody who happens to be the chairman for Pakistan Foundation for Fighting Blindness. Imagine that we still have people over here who actually restore our faith into other people as well because of the kind of services they have provided, the kind of work they're doing for all of those people who are differently able. He is Muhammad Abdullah Yusuf Saab. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Walaikum salam. Good morning.
Thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
joining us, sir. It's wonderful to have you.
Pleasure.
Last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, we once again have actually been joined by the chief coordinator of the Pakistan Foundation for Fighting Blindness. She is Miss Rabel Pirzada. What a lovely smile. Hello, good morning.
Hello everyone and assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, and thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. So I think we're going to get the conversation started with Mr. Abdullah over here. Sir, what I want you to do today is to raise awareness about this day. How important is this day, and what do you think is the significance of the White Cane Safety Day? Please.
Thank you. As you've already mentioned, White Cane Day is something which is absolutely necessary, I would say, for the blind people.
Exactly.
And it was specially introduced by the Americans, as a matter of fact, because before that, blind people used to walk with even black
Cane,
cane or something. But then this was specially introduced, which was then providing that kind of a special benefit to them. And they are now having it and using it. And it is, this particular day is supposed to highlight the actual importance, I would say, for this kind of an effort for the visually, handicapped persons. And we are trying to also do that through our institution, our NGO, Pakistan Foundation Fighting Blindness, where we have this main objective to facilitate our blind people.
Wonderful.
And we are working to one basic thing is to educate them first. And then we would like to also train them specially so that they are able to do some jobs, work somewhere, that is a very, very important thing
Exactly.
in your lifetime, as a matter of
Absolutely.
fact.
That's
We are
true.
trying to do that as well. And mashallah, we are also having a lot of people now who are already doing that or working as a result of the training that has been given to them.
Brilliant.
And then, of course, we also try that, the main problem of this visual impairment, what can we do to try and see what can be done to control it for the future, etc., as a research thing. That is another
Exactly.
area. And then, of course, we have to, in our efforts of training, education, etc., there are lots of programs that we are actually running.
And we're going to talk about that, but it's great that there are people who are actually talking about how to facilitate all of those people who are differently able or are visually impaired, and then there's a lot of research going down the line as well, which I think is great, because over here in Pakistan there's this one dilemma as well. I'm sorry that I have to talk about so many dilemmas in one day as well, and that is that we're not habitual of researching quite a lot. So I think that research actually does wonders for a lot of people who actually believe in it as well. So let's very quickly move on to Miss Shiza, because she wants to ask a question. We have a sign language, so
Right.
nobody else understands, but I understand that she needs to speak now. Go ahead.
Right. So, okay, this is actually for Mr. Zulkarnain or Ms. Rabil. Actually, any one of you can answer, because both of you I see are holding a white can each. So here's the thing. Like I mentioned, I was reading some accounts of some people, and one person wrote on a blog, again, I'm quoting a lot of people today, that it was only in 1960s or later that the concept of independent traveling was actually realized with people who are living with a visual impairment. Do you now feel independent enough to, I don't know how else to put this question, but please try to understand me, to be able to travel alone, first of all, and accomplish tasks alone?
Thank you, Shiza. First of all, I'd like to say that was approximately in 1955.
Okay.
Federal Union of Blind USA, they have announced this white cane. They introduced
Yes.
this worldwide. And second thing was basically what they did. They talked to Helen Keller. Usually, it's important to understand person who they are living with visual impairment. They can travel alone.
Okay.
And the most important thing, we all are human. First, we are human being, person centered language I usually use, because nowadays in worldwide this blind word has been obsolete. Just like
Absolutely, yes.
just like the way we use white cane, there was a woman, her name was Helen Keller.
Yes.
She used to travel alone across the world, and she trained a lot of people. And there was in late 50s, there was a woman that her name was Fatma Shah. She initiated this movement in Pakistan along with different people, but that hasn't brought any change. But now onward, people living with visual impairment can, people living with disability and people living with visual impairment can travel alone, except private airlines.
Oh,
They don't
okay.
allow people living with visual impairment to travel alone.
Why?
And you feel restricted because of that?
Yeah, they says that your responsibility lies on us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once
Okay.
I traveled, I said, okay, what about other passengers?
Yeah.
And they were saying no. I said, okay, I'll
Yes.
complain, and I show them a letter in which it was categorically mentioned, that was issued in 2009. In that letter, it was categorically mentioned person living with visual impairment can travel alone, but they were saying no, we won't allow. I said, okay, you can reimburse me my ticket immediately. Right
So-
at this part, then they said, no, sir, we'll try to manage.
Okay.
That's sad.
So, I mean, I understand, and this is just one of the example of the things that you might have to go through, right? Rabil, what is your idea of independence?
First of all, I want to say that this is white cane. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not a symbol of sympathy.
Yeah.
Of
It's a
course.
symbol of an empathy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's working for our eyes, our vision.
Exactly.
Okay, and we can walk, we can move easily and freely.
Yeah.
And especially in lockdown, we are trying to giving training to all visually challenged person to cross the country to how you can improve your mobility. First of all, in this lockdown, how we can maintain social distancing. So can you see this is white cane band,
Yeah.
especially this is band, it's red color, and it's how it's create, and due to this social band, we can maintain social distancing, free walk, and easily we can independently we can move.
How does it work? Let us know, please.
It's just
You
only
hold one end and the other person holds the other end.
yes. You can
Yeah.
see this is one hole
Yeah,
and this is second.
exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then you can make easily at your home if you have laptop straps, any handbag straps, so you can move it and then you can round it and then you can make this white social
Exactly.
band.
Wow,
Okay,
that's a good
and
idea.
in this era now technology is so fast.
Yeah.
Now we can move cream, use Uber and any other
Absolutely.
tools, and also think that now we are giving training mobility, then we are trying to use live location.
Exactly.
Okay, I am coming to PTV World, then I open your account, WhatsApp account, and I give my live location.
Exactly.
So you can check where I am.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's
nowadays mobility is so easy. We are very independent, and in my point of view, now visually impairment not exist.
It's not even a
anywhere.
problem.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow,
And
that's
I-
great. I'm so happy for you, Ravi. I
Yeah.
love how
Thank
you
you.
put it.
And I even wanted to add to it as well that in the future years, ladies and gentlemen, I think that it won't be a problem at all because we've got cars which are going to drive themselves now. I mean, planes.
for me
Obviously,
as
that
well.
was very unfortunate of Zulkarnain Saab to tell us that that the private airlines do not allow visually impaired. I think that there needs to be a system because it's a service. And for all of those airlines who've actually made themselves a bigger brand, what they've done is that they've actually catered to the needs of everybody. And this is something we were talking about, that how are we going to cater to the needs of every individual within our own society and community.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Abdullah, I'm going to come back to you, but just one moment. Before we do move on, Mr. Zulkarnain, I want you to explain, since you do have a white cane in your hand right now, I want you to explain how it works, what are its functions, just for us to learn.
Okay, basically it's white cane.
Yeah.
And when you
There's a
once-
table, so if you can
okay.
raise it and the camera can
Okay,
see.
this is white
Yeah.
cane. This is whole white.
ये टेढ़ा कर दिया आपने.
It happens because when I was coming to your office at that, during that,
Very sorry.
if it is fully white,
Yes.
Yeah.
that means person is have only visual impairment.
Okay.
Oh,
If it
right.
has red area over here, right, one this
Rabel
one
has
piece
got
or
red
second,
area at the below the
that
chin.
means
It's
that
fashion
means
now.
that means person has he or she has hearing
Okay.
impairment as well.
Okay,
Alright.
okay.
This is it has standard length
Yeah.
because usually it remain 3 to 4 feet 3 feet at least 3 feet away from your feet,
Ahead
so
of
you can
Navigate.
protect yourself because that's the main thing. When you step right, your cane should be on left. If you step out left, your cane should be on right.
On the right. Wow.
That's the way it works. And there is another device that is Cam My Vision, that is a quite accessible, that make accessibility and access of everything much easier, though that is expensive.
Yeah.
But it's the responsibility of state to provide those devices to all person living with visual impairments.
Exactly.
We conducted this the study across the 13 districts of Pakistan,
Okay.
and people from across various type of disabilities, different type of disabilities. If you remove the barrier, if you provide the assistive device,
Yeah.
you'll bring the revolution in
Exactly.
their life.
Yeah, of course.
What we did, we provide 100 white canes to different women living with visual impairment,
Okay.
and 25 wheelchairs.
Okay.
And after 6 months, can you imagine, those women were empowered and they were working, some of them were working in private schools, some of them were working in, you know, they were stitching.
So they were working in their own
clothes.
capacity.
Yeah, they have turned into their agencies, and they were
Wow.
that's the significance of these assistive devices.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And you know, you'd think that, imagine the amount of change just a white can make in your life.
Exactly.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, just one more thing though. So, you know, in the US, if you see, it's a law, right? If you see a
Yeah.
person walking on the roads or the.
You have to stop.
Yeah, with a white cane, you have to stop, no matter if they're on the zebra crossing or not, right? So, Mr. Abdullah, I want you to answer, are there such laws or legislations over here in Pakistan? Is the talk even on the table?
Actually, we do have our limitations also.
Right?
And that is not just for the white cane, it is for nearly everything
Yeah, I get
which
it.
goes on. And but you know, the government is also now trying to create some organization, or what is it, committee or something,
Okay, okay.
to try and facilitate the actual blind people
Okay.
from the government side also.
Which is a good thing, right?
Yeah,
It's a step forward.
which is a very positive thing, and obviously it's very necessary also. The government has to
Come in.
consider and do something, whatever is necessary
Absolutely.
from the national point of view. And
Exactly.
they are now initiating a process.
Wow.
And let's hope that it will actually achieve
talk
those
is on
kind
the
of
table.
Desired results.
Alhamdulillah.
So
and
I think we
we're
need
going
to
to
talk-
dig into it as well.
Can I add one thing? If
Yeah, you can, but we actually have to go for a short break. So once
but
we, yeah.
in one or two sentences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please do it.
You know, since 2000, after ratification of UNCRPD, since 2018, our approach has been shifted from medical to right-based approach. In Sindh, they have incorporated this thing in their policy and rules and stuff like that. In Punjab and KP, it's need in this in incorporation, and most likely in ICT it will be incorporated soon, because law has been passed. That is really good news for all person living with disabilities of Islamabad. And sooner President of Pakistan will sign the law in 22nd of this month.
Okay, okay.
And
Brilliant.
then that will be a complete law. After, when rules will be devised, after that this will be incorporated in the ICT police.
Wow.
This
And
sounds absolutely
congratulations,
brilliant.
congratulations to the government, congratulations to all of those people who will be helped with the passing of these laws as well. We're going to dig in deeper. We're going to ask about what laws are there in place to protect the rights of people who are actually born with a different ability as well, or are visually impaired as well for that matter. But not just that. Ladies and gentlemen, we actually have to head out towards a short break. When we come back, I actually want to ask Mr. Abdullah over here, who happens to be the chairman for the Pakistan Foundation for Fighting Blindness, because earlier, you know, while you know, at the start of the program, he said that they're trying to facilitate a lot of people who are visually impaired. I just want to know what kind of facilitations are out there for all of these people who are actually struggling every day to make sure that they're going to have a life which is full of respect and confidence. We're going for a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good morning.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This was a quick break. Well, it feels like we only needed to get a cup of water. But I hope you guys are having a good morning and an informative one as well. Because today happens to be a White Cane Safety Day. We're talking about assistive devices, especially white cane, for people who are visually impaired and how that changes their lives. How far along are we in our discussion?
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, before going out towards a short break, we wanted to actually ask Mr. Abdullah Yusuf, who happens to be the chairman for the Pakistan Foundation for Fighting Blindness, whether how are they facilitating people who are visually impaired or people who are living a very different life or are differently able as well. But not just that, I think Mr. Abel at the start of the program gave out a statement that this white cane is actually not for somebody to go and show sympathy. It is for empathy rather. And I think everybody needs to understand that. Mr. Zulkarnain actually told us that, what the white cane actually does for people who are actually visually impaired as well, and how it needs to be used and how it's marked with different colors. That God forbid if somebody is only blind, it's just going to be white. If there's red color on top of it as well, it's actually going to tell us that that the person cannot even hear us as well.
Yeah.
So I think everybody needs to know this in the first place.
So important.
And then we'll definitely ask about the laws in place as well, because he just told us that the President of Pakistan is actually going to sign on them as well on the 22nd of October, which once again is a milestone for the government as well. But Abdullah sir, coming back to you, you spoke about how the Pakistan Foundation for Fighting Blindness is actually facilitating visually impaired people. Would you mind shedding more light onto it?
Thank you. Actually, as I said, we are trying to facilitate the blind persons, and the main objective is that we have to actually improve the quality of life of these
Visually
people.
Right.
And that is basically through education, training, then assistive aids and counseling. Now these are the main objectives that we are having to follow. Then we have to find a way to cure the retina disease. We have also to have a platform for coordination and information sharing. That is also very
So
important.
Yes, absolutely.
And then to help the visually impaired with their disease. Now, these are those main objectives that we have.
And it's wonderful as well. And sir, you even mentioned that Pakistan Foundation for Fighting Blindness is actually doing a lot of research for that matter as well. So is the research in the direction of how these people are going to fight with their disease, or how the retina is going to get better, or probably bringing their eyes back to life?
Actually, this issue, that the disease issue, is unfortunately not that easy.
Oh, yes.
And it is just carrying on. But there is still an effort which is going on to try and see what can be done. Wow. But I think it will be not something which you will be able to kind of achieve overnight or finish it off. So the main thing is that you've got to facilitate the people.
Exactly.
And for that, I have Rubel here, and she's the one, our chief coordinator, who is all the time involved with a day-to-day, work and performance to actually go through the whole process of doing that work to actually help our people.
Which is why we're going to move on to Rabel as well. She said, you want to ask?
No, it's actually a similar question, and I think you're right. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is definitely going to create a ripple effect, so we should never stop. You're doing a brilliant job.
We can't stop,
Of course,
obviously.
no, that's what I'm saying. We need to
going.
appreciate people who are actually working towards it. So, Mr. Bale, let's hear it from the horse's mouth. You are the training instructor as well, and then the coordinator too. Let us know. Chief coordinator, wow.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that you said that I have red part in my white cane. So I want to say that I love colors. And I always says that life is so beautiful and we should enjoy every color of life.
Wonderful.
So that's why I have every color, every time lots of colors surrounding me.
Mashallah.
And secondly, our organization working for visually challenged person from last 35 years.
Wow.
And first of all, we are trying to giving education, and we have two types of academic course. One of academic course, and second is player listings. So we have almost 3,000 player listing titles to all visually challenged persons.
Okay.
And we are trying to giving education to all visually challenged persons till 5th till masters in English.
Wow.
And
Amazing,
literature, CSS, CA, etc. And the second thing, we also giving e-books facilities. Okay, those who are interested in CSS, LLB, and different literature, so we are converted books in e-medium.
Wow.
Then they can read easily and
Or listen to
perform
them.
their
Yeah.
activities. Okay, then the last and but not the least, there are capacity building trainings.
Okay.
It's a very important because our working is Pakistan Foundation for fighting blindness.
Yeah.
Okay, we are fighting for blindness. So we are giving lots of training like personality development workshop. In that training, we are trying to train students to postures and gestures, table manners, how to groom yourself, how to ironing, and all daily living skills. And
Amazing.
then the other thing is cooking. Cooking is very important. You and me, that the all kind of person.
Yeah.
So we are trying to train that how they can manage their kitchen, and we have lots of master chefs in the country. They are working with visually challenged person, and they are trying to their short business. And the other one is we have giving training to body
But
fitness.
would you mind if I stop you here just to ask you a smaller question, and that
Yeah,
is that
sure.
since you mentioned about cooking trainings and
Yes.
that you have a lot of master chefs as well, do you advise them at times to use frozen foods as well?
Yes, we have.
Because it makes our life easier, no? I think everybody needs to opt for easier solutions.
Yes, we have also channel that is PFFB Pakistan channel,
Yeah.
and we are trying to giving training to lots of visually challenged person, and there's lots of recipes also.
Yeah.
And if you want to like order anything, so you can order our master chef and me also.
Wow.
We can-
Wow, that's brilliant.
We can give you, and we have also give training to body fitness and emotional health training.
Wow.
This is a very interesting training because we can see that the visually challenged person are very used to JAWS screen readers and any other thing, but physical activities because they cannot see, na? So
Exactly.
they don't know that how to use gym, exercise, international exercise, national and
Yeah.
international games they are giving. And the most important thing, we are trying to teach our students painting.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, art and craft skills, and we are trying to. They made the kusa also, shoemaking, clutches also.
Rabil, one thing though, hold
How
on.
they're doing so? I mean,
I think this is brilliant. Yes, this is amazing. All to just, just to hear all of the possibilities that you guys have created, mashallah.
Yeah.
But one thing, it's sort of a different question, but I need a legit answer, okay? I love how positive you are, but do you realize you're actually bringing about a change in a lot of people's life, like you, through the trainings that you're giving
You're
out.
giving them a complete
How
life.
Yes, you're changing their life, literally. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that you're empowering people?
I want to say that one thing, nothing is impossible in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you
That's
say
true.
impossible spelling, that
says, "I am
impossible
possible."
says that I am possible.
Exactly.
I love it.
There's impossibility. So
Brilliant.
nothing is and the other thing, blindness doesn't exist on your body.
Yeah.
It exists on your
Head.
brain.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so please.
I love your mindset.
Okay, and the important
But
thing.
can we say don't take it to your head?
On a lighter note.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing now, moving back to Mr. Zulkarnain, since we're really short on time, sorry. What are we expecting from the bill that is you mentioned is going to be passed?
Okay, that's really important and brilliant question, I must say.
Thank you.
Because Sindh and Balochistan has passed the law in 1980. Since then, approach has been changed. Everyone has right to live with dignity, and we Pakistan have prepared the plan according to SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. We have those commitments. First, most important thing is that no one left behind. If there is a legislation or there is anything which that ignores anyone, that means we are not following the international commitment.
Yes.
Yeah.
This bill is important because it has shifted the approach from charity, medical and social to human right based mode approach,
Beautiful.
because everyone is entitled to equal right regardless of disability, ability,
We agree with
social
you.
color, caste and creed.
Yes.
We all are human being. We have a right, equal right to live life with dignity.
Yeah.
And this bill stretch those rights, provide all those rights in Islamabad capital territory, which other persons are entitled to. Our constitution gave all the article 8 to 28, which gives all right to every citizens. But after this bill, person living with disabilities are entitled to those rights. That is why this bill is very important, and this is a one milestone. And another thing, because it's obligation of state after ratification of the UNCRPD,
Yeah.
they have disabled friendly legislations, and that is their obligation, and now the rest part is implementation of that bill.
Exactly.
Because across the world, DPOs play vital role in implementation,
Exactly.
and in our country other made laws for us. That is why we used to say nothing about us without us.
I think, sir, what we
Last
really,
one point,
Yeah.
one important, in according to that bill, there is a council, and it have 3 person from different disabilities. They will ensure the implementation part. That council will ensure the implementation part. That is why it is important. This bill is important, and its implementation is also important.
exactly,
Yeah.
which is why, I just wanted to add over here that you said that back in 1980, Sindh and Balochistan has already passed the bill.
18.
Yeah, 1918. So imagine that if
Wow.
you're talking about 1918 and the bill's been already passed, what kind of implementation have we seen in Sindh and Balochistan for that matter?
We conducted.
I'm sorry that we have to say this, but yes, true.
We have conducted the research
Yeah.
across the district, 13 districts of Pakistan, and there is a difference, remarkable difference. If you go to those areas where bill has been passed, over there special education institutions, you will find accessible institutions.
Okay.
And if there are no laws, you won't find even special education institutions are not accessible.
All right.
That is the main difference. In Sindh, if anyone have significant impairment,
Yeah.
he or she can get disability special CNIC without any disability certificate.
Okay.
But in other provinces where there are no laws, one cannot get that CNIC. That is the major difference, because if one has CNIC, that means he or she can exercise her their rights, all rights. They can be benefited from all those facilities which government of Pakistan is offering to them.
Okay.
That is why CNIC is important, because Pakistan Baitul Mal is providing assistive devices, including wheelchair, white cane and different kind of assistive devices.
Wonderful.
Brilliant.
And that's
brilliant.
why it's important to have CNIC.
Exactly.
That's the important point. That's why legislation is important to have to exercise the civil rights of person.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Wonderful
Brilliant.
that is, and thank you very much, gentlemen, and thank you very much, lady, for being with us on this important issue and topic, and on this important day as well, where first of all we actually wanted to raise awareness that, ladies and gentlemen, white cane is actually not a symbol of sympathy. In fact, it is a symbol of empathy, and for people to realize that all of these people who are actually differently able have their own rights as well, and we need to respect them, and we need to give them that environment which will actually help them exercise their own rights.
Yes, I feel good about this show. I learned so much. And if you did too, let us know through our Facebook page, which is with the name of
World This Morning on your television screens down below.
on Twitter.
On Twitter, it's World This Morning without a G.
And you can catch the video of this show on YouTube with the name of?
With the name of PTV World, and then you look for World This Morning.
And the repeat of this one at?
And the repeat will be at midnight. Ladies and gentlemen, till the next time, look after yourselves. We hope that everybody out there is doing perfectly fine. And if there's anything you can do within your own capacity to make somebody else's life better, make sure that you do so, because Allah is the one who's going to reward you for that. And when Allah rewards, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that anybody is left to ask for anything.
Beautiful, beautiful. Take
Alhamdulillah.
care. Good morning.
Good morning.